Hey guys, Youngblood back with you, and what we're going to talk about today is night vision scopes, specifically on vehicles, and even more specifically on ESFs. Now, when we start talking about the optics, you've got three different options. You've got your zoom with all the different levels, you've got thermal, and you've got the night vision. Now, the reason we're talking about this today is because thermal completely outclasses the night vision in really in any way, shape, form, or use. Now, in a way, that makes a little bit of sense, considering it's 4 times the cost at 200 certs versus 50. However, in the scheme of things, they're both relatively cheap. So why is anybody ever going to use the night vision scope, which frankly, since the changes, doesn't really do anything? It kind of puts a green tint over your screen. Yes, it kind of highlights things a little bit, may make terrain a little bit easier to see, but overall, it's not going to make you any more combat effective. Now, I'm okay with the thermal being a little bit better and costing a little bit more. That being said, I don't think having the night vision be completely useless is worthwhile either. So I want to propose a couple changes that I think will help balance things out a little bit, and ultimately with things that I think are going to improve overall. Now, the first thing that I think they could do, and it's a really easy change, at least I think, and I'm going to raise my hand and admit I am not programming savvy. I don't know what's an easy change and what's not. But the very first thing that I think they should do is increase the range that you're going to be able to see using the night vision scope. The night vision already sees a little bit further than thermal, but it's not a great distance by any means. And, you know, I'll put up some images on the screen where you can kind of see I'm flickering back and forth between the two. You can't see that far with it, and even when you can see, it's not that better than what you're getting from the moonlight without the scope anyways. So that's an easy change, and I think that's something they could do without having to change the cost of the optic overall. I think you could still easily keep it at 50 certs for just getting a little bit more range. So increasing the range is an easy change, and what I've got up on the screen now is just a screenshot from what I've been playing, and what you're looking at is a flash through the current night vision optic. You can see this person had the headlights on, so it made them a little bit easier to see, but it is really hard to make out the vehicle itself. Now, what you just saw change was the fact I actually put on I edited this image, and basically I increased the brightness and I played with the contrast a little bit. Now, the lights still stand out a lot, which makes a lot of sense considering it has to do with light magnification. However, you can see the flash quite a bit better now. Ultimately, what I think we could do is, and again, this feels like an easy change, is if we make the optics bring in more light, make it a little bit brighter, and you could even blur the displays like you see on this image if you want to, and play with the contrast. Just by those changes of settings, it can actually make a pretty big difference in how effective and useful this actually is. And just along the same lines, here I put up an image in the VR, and I'm over by the TR section and aside, so you can tell there's a lot of vehicles around. But looking at the screen right now, outside of this Galaxy and the Liberator up to the top a little bit, it's really damn hard to make out anything. Again, it looks like you're looking through the pitch black. Now, again, I do the same editing technique. I increase the brightness and I change the contrast. You can tell it's a small change, but it's a pretty significant result where you can see your target significantly better. I think this simple change will make this weapon quite a bit more useful, or this optic on weapons quite a bit more useful, and may actually make people consider what they want to use a little bit more. Thermal's still better, but this improves. Now, let's go back to that picture of the flash on the mountainside, and let's start thinking outside the box a little bit. And how can we make this competitive, or at least make you think about using this instead of thermal? Well, I think if you're combining some of the things that we've already seen, like longer range, with perhaps something new. Maybe now it's a night vision / targeting system. Now, that's not going to help you with infantry, but here, I'm going to go ahead and show you this image. I've doctored it up, and I haven't changed the contrast or anything, but now you can see the vehicle is now highlighted in a green line. Almost like this optic choice now is going to recognize that it's a vehicle, and it's going to help you visually. I don't think something like this should put it on the mini-map, because then I think it infringes on the role of something like a scout radar. However, if it helps you target your systems better, it's not going to really help you farm infantry a little bit better, and then the thermal's still a better choice there, but now you have a better time engaging enemy ground targets. And I think this could work for the air too, although it would be less needed in the air. Again, it's a kind of a small change gameplay-wise, however, it actually makes this a little bit more useful. Now, the problem with this one is I don't really know how hard something like this would be to implement. That's going to be for the developers, if they even like this idea or not, but it's something at least for them to consider. Okay, now let's take it back over to the VR. And again, just like we saw in this original image before, it's really hard to see enemy vehicles, except for the Galaxy and the Liberator. Now, as we change over, now we got the targeting system back as part of the VR, and all of a sudden it's more useful. Now, what I like about this example is the enemy infantry don't glow in the VR anyways, so I think this is something that we could actually expect for this to look like. You can see the outlines of the vehicles, making the night vision more useful, but it's not going to help you in farming infantry because they're still hard as hell to see. Now, lastly, let's do one last exercise, and you can see, again, we're going from just the normal to now a combination of the new targeting system plus the brightness and contrast changes. Now, all of a sudden, you're able to see the terrain a lot better, you're able to see enemy vehicles a lot better, and if you can combine this with the ability to have a little bit more range, maybe double of where it's at right now, all of a sudden, you have a vehicle optic that is much, much better than its current state. Now, I don't feel that this is going to be better than thermal. Thermal lights up everything. It's pretty similar in range right now. So maybe what we do is we keep thermal at the 200 cert mark and increase the cost of night vision from 50 to 100. It's going to be a useful choice now, but it's not going to probably live up to the expectations and the overall versatility of the thermal. There's certain situations where this would be better, like think about using Hornets at night from long range. Maybe rocket potting enemy vehicles from a long distance. These are the types of situations where I think this could really shine, which actually gives this weapon's optic a role. And when it's more useful, it provides more diversity, and that's what we all want to see in the game. So, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear if you had any other proposed changes for this. I'm interested to see what SOE thinks about this as well. So, that's it for now. Go ahead and leave a like if you liked it. Stay tuned for a lot more. Sub if you haven't, and I will catch you guys later. Take care.